Every skin that you own in Counter-Strike is doing one of two things. It's either making you money or losing you money, and there's no in between. Steam takes away 15% every time you panic sell. Inflation ruins the cost of your shit by default just by existing. Your only way to win is to hold skins that go up. Now, I've been wrong plenty of times before, but I don't lose. I learn. And I've been early where it matters. Cases, old discontinued collections, and I made a decent amount of money in this game. So here's where I'm putting my money right now. One pick for each gun in the game. Rifles, pistols, LMGs, SMGs. We'll even do stickers, charms, and agents. Why not? Some of these are going to be safe picks, while some are degenerate gambles. But all of them do have a why and a target to sell at once you get there. So let's get into it. But first, allow me to establish some ground rules. Factory new. All skins that I talk about will be factory new condition, not souvenir, not stat track, and not a different wear unless I specify. 2. We'll be going in order of investment type. We'll start with the safer picks and move our way to the more risky ones towards the end. So if you want a specific pick, like the XM1014, you're just gonna have to fucking wait. Lastly, use new money. If you have Playskins that you already own, don't sell them, you're just losing 15%. This is for all new money and all money that you put into the game after you watch this video. If you like the off Asimov, keep the off Asimov. It'll probably still go up. Now let's start with our Surefire plays. The first of which is going to be the M4A1S Fade from the Sport and Field collection. As I mentioned before, it is a gun from the Sport and Field collection, which is the oldest collection currently still in the armory. When this shit gets removed, not if, incoming supply falls exponentially, as you can only trade up to it and not unbox it from a case ever again. If you buy one, focus on your fade percentage. These ones can already earn you a premium right now if you snipe one off the market, but it'll also just add to your investment later down on the road. If you want exposure to the M4A1S Fade, but you don't have the money to buy one, consider buying the Glock Axia or the MP9 Arctic Tritone. These are pinks and purple skins respectively, but they trade up to the M4A1S, so they're sort of a derivative in a sense. You first sell on the initial news of the Sport and Field being removed from the armory. After prices cool down for a bit, you buy back in, the skin will actually get discontinued, and then it'll go up again in the time. Now your sticker choices are their own universe essentially, but your simple answer is majors from 2021 to 2022, as well as the Copenhagen 2024 stickers. All of these major stickers are the cleanest we've gotten basically since Cato 2014. Now some teams get discontinued like we saw with Complexity, or some teams enter a controversy like iBuyPower did back in the day. You can't predict that, so just buy a few of each team if that's what you're looking to speculate into. But if you're holding these stickers on the news of discontinuations or controversy, you could sell the gun at up to 3 to a 400% gain. Now if you want a major sticker specifically for slabs, that's going to be DreamHack 2014. Their square shape fits really well into the slab itself, and they've become very popular since the new update. Quick pause. Everything I've said so far has been boring, and I know that. Right? Buy discontinued collections isn't a revolutionary take. But here's what I've learned watching people lose money in this market and in every other market that's ever existed on Earth. Right, they push the 10% gains aside and they go into the big plays, ones that could potentially 10 or 20x, and it oftentimes doesn't work out. You have to build your foundation and let that grow. And once that happens, you have some extra spending cash to have some fun on risky speculative plays. The stuff I listed will go up. It won't be a 10 or 20x, but you'll get some money back. And those plays are your base. So let's get into the interesting stuff. So a lot of people tend to overlook blues that are in cases. Right, they're opened a ton, so you have a lot of supply oftentimes, and they're pretty much only good for trading up or for selling to recoup some of your loss on the case. But they have one unique ability that a purple or a pink doesn't share. And it's the fact that you can't trade up to that blue, because it's the lowest rarity skin in the case. And there are two specific skins that exploit this very heavily. Crimson Web. Specifically the R8 Revolver and the Scar 20 Crimson Web, both blues from the Revolver and CSGO weapon case too. A lot of these 06 to 07 skins like the Crimson Web and the Whiteout, they rely pretty heavily on trade ups to make their while, because not a lot of people are going to unbox them when the case is in its prime. But the cases the R8 and the Scar 20 Crimson Web are in, are rapidly getting more expensive, so they'll rise with it. They're becoming increasingly rare, so the chances of people opening and getting one get more increasingly rare. And you can't trade up to a factory new Crimson Web of these skins because it's a blue, and you can't trade up to a blue. Now, these won't moon to $300 overnight. However, they will benefit from cases going up more so than their peers in the blues. Very much a set and forget type skin. Very much a set and forget type of skin. But they don't look too bad, so just keep them on your inventory. And for the M249, and for the CZ75, I choose the CZ75 Syndicate from the Trade in 2021 collection. This is probably my favorite play in the video right now. The Syndicate is a purple in the Trade collection, which trades up to the Glock Gamma Doppler and the M4A4 Coalition, two darlings of China's manipulation. The Syndicate is the purple with the highest float cap, and it's not too expensive. I would even pick one up in minimal wear if you could get one for cheap. Now, a lot of the purples in the collection are pretty undervalued in my opinion, so I would also look at the P2000 Space Race. Decently high float cap, but it has seen a little bit of a pump recently, so maybe hold off, see if you can get at a low price point, set in a buy order. Now, allow me to go back to the armory for a second. Overpass 2024 is shaping up to be one of Valve's most popular collections in which they've ever released. The AKB the Monster looks fantastic in-game, so once that skin's gone, and gone forever, people are going to want to trade up to it. Which is going to give us 3 picks from this armory collection. The XM1014 Monster Melt, the AUG Eye of Zapums, and the Dual Beretta's Sweet Little Angels. All 3 same play. Load up right now on discontinuation news. Sell. Once hype dies down, buy back in, and then hold as they rise long term. It's also your best entry point right now. The Overpass collection overtook the Sport and Field for being the most redeemed collection in the armory right now. What this means for you, supply is high, so prices are lower for right now. So buy in at your discount and see more of a price pump when the skins get discontinued. But let's go back in time a little bit and go back to the Norse collection from 2019. And their skins have already been sitting there, marinating, stewing. Perfect investment opportunity for someone like you. The Norse collection is anchored by the Op Gungnir at the top. Every other skin is a derivative because it can trade up to it. So if the Gungnir goes up, everything else goes up. Cheaper exposure. I'm just going to give you 3 more picks. The Negev Mjolnir, the SSG08 Redstone, and the MAC-10 Copper Boar. I love these plays because all 3 of them look fantastic in game, and they're all great trade up fodder. The Negev is the only pink in the collection. You need one to get a Gungnir. So be the person the guy that does the trade up has to buy from. You can charge whatever the hell you'd like. Now, case plays tend to be very interesting and very rare because cases are often opened a shit ton and nothing really goes up over time. But cases that live in the rare drop pool and have lived there for quite some time don't exactly fit that criteria anymore. 2 skins inside, the MP5 Phosphor and the Tech 9 Fubar. The Tech 9 Fubar doesn't come in factory new, but it does come in minimal wear. From 0.14 to 0.15. Which means that every minimal wear skin you buy basically guarantees a factory new trade up. It is the perfect filler blue for any trade up you do in the future. And at its current price point of around $3 to $4, you really can't go wrong. People are going to realize this and start buying this up soon. The MP5 Phosphor is on the MP5, so it's cheap because the gun sucks. However, once we see some AK Asimov start to get more rare, this is going to be your prime trade-up skin. The cheapest one usually is. So don't always ignore K skins. They can be good sometimes. Now, we've spoken about this one a couple of days ago, but it follows the same pattern as the MP5. It has been years since the MP7 has been good, and as it starts to enter the meta once again, Playskins will rise. So choose the most beautiful MP7 in your opinion, but I like the Fade. It's from the 2018 Inferno collection, so we very well could see a new Inferno collection come out, and this skin discontinued forever. But we don't know when the Inferno collection is going to get replaced, so it's better to buy it right now. This is a lottery ticket, but it's a $4, $5 skin, So you're basically giving up a coffee for it. Okay, everything from now on is going to carry some decent amount of risk with your investment. The 5.7 Neon Kimono from the Rising Sun collection. In factory new, we're looking at around $800, which definitely tells you something about its demand. And that's because it trades up to the AK Hydroponic, which has seen massive increases in the last couple of months, mainly due to Chinese manipulation. If they keep eating that supply up and there's no end in sight, every skin below it goes up. It's a derivative. It's not going to 10x, it'll probably go 50, 60% maybe. But it is pretty gorgeous and it looks great in a lot of loadouts. If the hydroponic retests and breaks its previous all-time high before the crash, I would consider selling this one. The next is the Tech 9 Whiteout from the Train 2025 collection, and this is probably my highest conviction plays of this general section here. As I've discussed ad nauseum, the new float and trade-up system has made getting whiteouts from trade-ups extremely hard. So once this skin gets discontinued, you are not going to see very many of these come into the market. In fact, people getting trade banned or vac banned, whatever, is going to outweigh the amount of Tech 9s coming into the market. So that number that you see on CS Float is going to look real fucking low when this skin gets discontinued. You could sell the news of the discontinuation, but once it starts to cool off, I would buy back in. I could see this going to the USP level of whiteout price because the Tech 9 is such a popular and commonly used gun on the T side. The next one's a Valve news play, but it also can't really go wrong. And that's the FAMAS sticks from the original Cash collection. And we're betting on Cash here in the near future. If and when, honestly, Valve releases Cash, it most certainly will come with the 2026 Cash collection, making the already existing Cash collection more scarce, more in demand, and possibly even a little bit more popular. The sticks is a time capsule. The accents feature like a hot rod finish, so a lot of people with red loadouts don't even really know about this skin, but it would benefit them greatly. You could hold it because it's such a really nice looking play skin, but if Cash gets released, I would have one of these in my inventory to sell on the news. Another derivative play, just with a high startup cost, the SG553 Bulldozer. This is from the Chop Shop collection, and it trades up directly to either the Glock 18 Twilight Galaxy or the M4A1S Hot Rod. The Hot Rod, much like the hydroponic we talked about before, is very similar to the hydroponic we talked about earlier. It's one of the most popular skins by Chinese manipulators to blow up the price. When those inputs get eaten to trade up to them, there's less Bulldozer. So I wouldn't sell when the SG hits a certain price. I would sell when the M4 Hot Rod hits a certain price. If it hits $5,000, you may want to consider taking some profits out on the SG because the Hot Rod doesn't really see too many growth prospects past that point. Now our last branch and play is going to be the P90 Run and Hide. This is from the Ancient collection, and it's the only skin effectively that trades up to the M4A1S Welcome to the Jungle. And that's because the other pink in the collection is the AK-47 Panthera Anka. The Panthera Anka is expensive because it's desirable as a play skin, while the P90 sits at around 1/4 of the price. So a bottleneck exists here. If you want to trade up to the M4 Welcome to the Jungle, you need this P90. If you use the AK, you're stupid. There's also a few other picks in this collection that I enjoy. The Galil Dusk Ruins is one of the best looking Galils in the game. It goes fantastic with the big game gloves. And it's relatively cheap at around $35 right now with the highest float cap in its rarity range. Again, same discontinuation thesis as well as the USPS Ancient Visions. And while you may have to wait some time for it to go up, you at least have a very awesome USP that you can use in game. Now as far as knives go, after the update it could be quite a bit complicated. The only one that I could really see going up a decent amount in the long term is the Vanilla Knife Classic Knife Vanilla. The knife itself is pretty iconic. I wouldn't go with any of the finishes. I would just get the vanilla one. But honestly, I wouldn't go into any specific knife in general right now. But I would go into some knife finishes. Now, knives are generally hold and just make your inventory look cool. But if you do need fast liquidity, knives are pretty fast to sell in this market. There's a lot of bots just waiting to snoop up on a 3% off offer. And your two plays are going to be the Lore Knife and the Autotronic Knife, respectively. The knife itself doesn't matter, pick your favorite. And that's because these are higher tier knife finishes, but their float range is from 0 to 1. So every time you get a fade, you always get a factory new, or every time you get a Doppler, you always get a factory new. But when you get a lore or an autotronic, that's not guaranteed. In fact, it's hard. And as trade-ups get more and more expensive, people are going to trade up 5 battle scarred or 5 well-worn reds. If they get the fade or they get the Doppler, it's going to be factory new anyway. But if they get unlucky and they get a lore or an autotronic, it's going to be battle scarred or well-worn. So as you can see, the supply of the factory new and minimal wear ones are going to be significantly less than field tested and below. And the less supply that comes in, the less of a downward trend you see on your knife price chart. But again, just buy the one you like. I think the skins that I mentioned previously have better investment prospects. Just buy the knife you enjoy using in game. We're going to go along the same lines here for our glove selection. As I talked about in my previous video, I would stay away from the Generation 1 gloves. They've been the subject of Chinese manipulation, and honestly, I think Valve probably responds to it by fucking with that case somehow, either releasing a new one or having just something's gonna happen. So I would probably hold off of those. If you want some gloves, go for the recoil case or the ones in the Revolution case. And as these cases get discontinued and as more people come into the game and play for the first time, market cap will go up and pretty much everything you own will enjoy some amount of gain over time. So just choose the glove that you like yourself. I would go for the Hot Howl in the Armory right now. I think you definitely see this get discontinued in the next Armory update. And the Howl in its history is the lowest price it's ever been at right now because of the sticker slab update. But the Howl is a very iconic thing in Counter-Strike, much like the Howling Dawn sticker. So once this charm goes, people are going to want it and price is going to increase. Lastly, we have our agents, real human skins. Now you're basically at the whim of Chinese manipulation here, which could be very good or end very poorly for you. But there are some that are kind of China proof just because they're popular within the general public, and that's going to be Number K, NZ Sass, and Getaway Sally. They don't really spike too much because they're already like perma spiked. And if you want just an agent to look good in game and Valve releases new agents, those three will probably be the most impervious to any price dips. Now you might be saying he missed a few guns. No, I didn't. PP Bizon, Judgment of Anubis. There's really no other skin here. It's just a good red that trades up to knives. 45 Crime Scene. Looks fucking dope. Eventually trades up to the blue Phosphor M4, which is always going to be a popular skin. Mag 7 Justice. It's a pink with a decent float cap. It's in the Prisma 2 case, which if it goes up, Mag 7 goes up. Nova, Moon, and Libra. $6, Gods and Monsters collection. Very rare, very old collection. And at this price point, can't go wrong. Looks fantastic in game as well. Sawed Off Jungle Thicket. From the St. Mark collection, so again, it's a derivative of the AK Wild Lotus. And this skin already has such a low supply to begin with. And as trade-ups start to get more and more infrequent, they're going to need every gray, every light blue they could possibly get, and you'll be holding some. AK-47 Rat Rod. This is from a discontinued case, much like the Orbit space-looking shitty AK, and that one's $100 for some reason. The Rat Rod looks fucking sick as hell. That shit should match the Orbit price in due time. The G3 Auto Sniper. And last but not least, the M4A4 Poly Soup. This is from the Graphic Design collection, and it's dipped since its discontinuation, but the Star Cage seems to be a very popular deagle, and there ain't any new M4s coming into circulation. Supply is done. But in general, you could pretty much go to any M4 right now. It seems to be re-entering the meta in a large way, and a big population is going to start to buy some Playskins, so just be one of the suppliers when they do come in. So there you go. That's the loadout. If you're overwhelmed and you just want 3 to start with, M4A1S Fade, CZ75 Syndicate, and Tech 9 Whiteout. Foundational pick, a sleeper pick, and a little bit of a risky pick. Balanced. So I'm making this video for you, and I'm also making it for me. Come back in 5 months and see where I was right and where I was wrong. I would like to thank you guys for 2,000 subscribers. Now we don't celebrate 2,000 subscribers, we celebrate 1,000 and then we celebrate 10. But if you want to count it, we're going to do a cash 10-man tonight at around midnight to 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be in the morning early in Europe, and it's going to be late at night for the people in the United States and Canada. Anyone could play. I don't really care about ping. As long as you don't either, we'll be fine. On the winning team, one of the players, I'll give away a skin or some shit. Maybe like the M4 Black Lotus. Yeah, we'll do that. Drop your picks in the comments. Tell me if you have a better specific skin investment than me. And why. And hopefully, I'll see you guys on the live stream later. Take care.